You know that feeling, right? You ask an AI a question, and what you get back is, well, completely useless. We have all been there. But what if the problem isn't the AI? What if it's us? Today, we're going to dive into a really simple but powerful idea. The secret to getting incredible answers isn't a better AI, it's a better question. Let's get into it.
It's a huge frustration, isn't it? You ask for help and you get this bland, one-size-fits-all response that doesn't really connect with your actual life. So what's going on here? Is the technology just not quite there yet? Well, not exactly. And here it is. This is the absolute core of the issue. We tend to treat AI like a search engine, but it's not. It's a generator. It doesn't find answers. It literally creates them from scratch using only the information you give it. So when you give it basically nothing to work with, it has no choice but to guess. And its guesses are always, by default, super generic.
Now just look at this slide. This shows the difference so dramatically. On the left, the question is, how do I save money? The answer you're going to get is obvious stuff, right? Make a budget, cook at home, totally useless. But look at the right. I'm a single mom, 2 kids, I make $55K a year, and I have $8,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest. See? That's not just a question, it's a whole situation. The answer to that will be tailored, specific, and something you can actually use. The AI didn't get smarter between these 2 prompts, you just gave it what it needed.
So that brings us right to our first and honestly most fundamental upgrade, giving the AI some context. Before you ask your question, you've got to tell it a little bit about who you are and what your situation is. Let's look at another one. Asking, what should I do about high blood pressure? Well, that gets you what is basically a generic health article. But what happens when you add just a little context? I'm a 58-year-old woman recently diagnosed, and my doctor mentioned lifestyle changes. That little bit of info completely transforms the output from a web page into personalized, prioritized advice. It is such a tiny change for a massively better result. Here is a super simple habit you can build. Before you hit send on any prompt, just stop and ask yourself this one question. It takes, 2 seconds? And it'll force you to add that one crucial sentence that just makes all the difference in the world.
Okay, let's move on to our second upgrade, which is incredibly powerful. This one shapes not just what the AI says, but how it says it. You're going to assign the AI a specific role to play.
Check this out. On the left, you're just asking for some information. But on the right, you're telling the AI, act as a career coach who specializes in salary negotiation. All of a sudden, you're not just getting a list of facts, you're getting a full-on strategy session. The AI actually adopts the persona, the vocabulary, and the expertise of that role. It's a game changer. And you can get really creative with this. Tell it to be a nutritionist who's creating a meal plan for you, or a patient lawyer explaining a super complex contract in simple terms. You could even ask it to be a friendly teacher for a topic you've just never been able to wrap your head around. The possibilities here are pretty much endless. All right, now for the upgrade that most beginners completely miss. We often treat our first question like it's our only shot, right? We take that first answer and just walk away. But the real magic, the best stuff, happens when you treat it like a conversation. You have to iterate.
I absolutely love this analogy. Just think about it for a second. You're basically working with an assistant who never gets tired, never gets frustrated, and is perfectly happy to revise something a dozen times if you ask it to. That first draft it gives you, that's just the starting point. The real work, the good stuff, happens in the conversation that follows.
So you never have to start over from scratch. You can just push back with simple phrases, just like the ones you see here. You can ask it to make the answer shorter or to expand on that one point you found interesting. You could ask for 3 different versions to compare, or even challenge it by asking about the downsides of its own suggestion. This back and forth is how you guide the AI from a generic answer to the exact one you actually need. Okay, so we've covered some really powerful tools here. Giving context, assigning a role, and treating it all like a conversation. So how do you actually put this all together without it feeling overwhelming? Let's map out a really simple path forward. So here it is, the full formula for a basically perfect prompt. Number 1, give a little context about yourself. 2, assign a role. 3, and this is that final piece we haven't talked about yet, ask for a specific format, like a bulleted list or a simple table or maybe a 3-paragraph summary. And 4,
Always remember to iterate and refine the answer. You won't always need all four, but this is the recipe for getting consistently great results. And this slide right here shows how all four of those pieces can come together just beautifully. You start with context. You're a retired nurse with no investing experience. You assign a role, a patient financial advisor. You give it a clear task, how to invest $10,000. And you specify a format, a simple 5-point bulleted list. When you combine all these elements, that's how you get a phenomenal answer on the very first try. But listen, here's the most important takeaway of all. Don't try to memorize that whole formula at once. If you remember just one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. For your very next question to an AI, do nothing else but add one single sentence of context about your situation. That's it. Just see what happens. That's the whole starting point.
One small change can completely unlock the potential of these incredible tools. Just by knowing these simple techniques, you're already way ahead of most people. So really, the only question left is, what will you ask next?